London Marylebone might just be one of my favourite terminal stations in the capital. I like that it still has its Network South East era signs. I like that there are still old signs for British Rail and the original station name of Grand Central down on the tube as well. And today's adventure is very much reminding me of a journey I took from here on the 29th of February 2020, when I travelled on the line between Leamington Spa, Coventry and Nuneaton, and then headed towards Stratford-upon-Avon later that day. We'll gloss over how I started to feel ill and forgot to lock the toilet door. Instead of changing at Leamington Spa this time though, I thought I would change at Warwick instead, purely to tick off another station. I will return to Warwick one day for a dedicated walk, which means we're not going to get to see the castle today, but I will start that walk back at Leamington Spa, so I won't use this station. Plus, I need to tick off Hatton and Warwick Parkway stations too, the latter of which the Stratford trains do not actually call at. Well, I also thought I'd tick off Claverden station, and this is a quiet one. I was the only passenger. So we've moved from a Chiltern station to a West Midlands Railway one, and brilliantly, there is a heritage sign here, plus a depiction of William Shakespeare, which will be quite relevant later on. So I decided to tick off Claverden station now, because I've ticked off the other station on this line, Bearley, when I headed for Stratford-upon-Avon before. So Bearley only gets around 2,500 users a year. It's not that well used, but when I used it, I took a canal walk to Wilmcote station, which is exactly what I'm going to do today as well, just a much longer stretch along it, beginning at Lapworth station. So I'm actually just reversing here. There's trains to Stratford-upon-Avon only every 2 hours, but there's limited West Midlands services which take the curve up towards Birmingham, which I've not actually been on before, so I get to do a bit of a track I've not done, which I know some people quite like to do. Not so much for me, but I guess it's pretty neat. Intriguingly, this little railway did open as a single track line in 1860, was doubled in 1938, but then reverted back to single track in 1969. But despite that, you can still see the disused second platform. That was one of the biggest gaps between the train and the platform which I have ever seen. And we're back at a Chiltern station now, Lapworth, where I can finally start the walk. Once again, I was the only passenger who got off here, and I'm quite intrigued to find that when this station first opened in 1854, it was known as Kingswood, which is actually where Lapworth station is situated. Lapworth itself is a little bit further up, but it was renamed in 1902 so as to avoid confusion with the station on the Tattenham Corner branch line in South London / Surrey. Despite that though, there's an Ellswood station on the Stratford-upon-Avon line, and there is an Ellswood station not too far away from Kingswood. So why they didn't rename one of them ones, who knows. This definitely makes me think that there used to be more tracks through here at Lapworth, because the bridge is continuing to span over nothing nowadays. And I think you can actually find many examples of this at other stations along this line into Birmingham, which we will do another day. For now though, I can finally start my walk today, and what better way to do that than along the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal. Except it's not. This is the Grand Union Canal, and this little arm connects it with the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal. This over here is the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal, and I've got about 12 miles along it to reach Stratford-upon-Avon itself. So the Stratford Canal, that's just what I'm going to call it for the rest of the day, branches off of the Worcester and Birmingham Canal at Kings Norton. And I have walked a section of that before, about 3 years ago, before I started making videos, from Birmingham to Kings Norton. So it would be good to pick up the section of the Stratford Canal from Kings Norton to here at Lapworth/Kingswood. The first section of this canal opened in 1796, but it didn't meet what was known as the Warwick and Birmingham Canal until 1803. It got amalgamated and the Grand Union Canal was formed in 1929. And then the section all the way down to Stratford was complete in 1815. Now, we do usually count locks and bridges on a canal walk, so our first one today is 22, and our bridge is 37A. That's intriguing. That must mean this is a slightly newer one. It actually hasn't taken that long at all to reach the next lock and bridge. I won't feature all of them today, but I am quite intrigued to find that this one is pretty much a drawbridge. Feels a little uncanny to be standing on it like this, but I just wanted to cross it quick because it looked like this was a really old sign. Oh yeah, it definitely looks that, doesn't it? This bridge is insufficient to carry a heavy motor car. Oh, there's a Great Western Railway logo on it as well. Okay, so it seems like I'm about 13 miles from Kings Norton. So that is definitely doable. That is a nice length for a day walk along the canal. This should be a fairly rural canal walk today, but I am having to deal with the M40 here. This does take away the tranquility a little bit. Okay, I've got a couple of things to note here. First, it seems like they're doing some work on the bank of the canal. Luckily, it didn't completely close off the towpath. And second, this very much looks like a disused railway bridge. And looking at the map, it is. There used to be a line from Henley and Arden station, which sits on the Stratford line, and Lapworth. Might have been a handy connection to have had today, just to take a bit of strain off of the single track line through Claverdham. Actually, I've just spotted beside the disused railway, there is a very railway-esque looking building, and there is a sign by the door that reads Lowson Ford Halt. So perhaps there was a station called that on this line. So the canal is just over there through that gate, but I spotted in this gap what looks to be like the edge of a race course. I don't know what that's doing in there. I'm also glad that I'm walking the canal towpath today, because I wouldn't like to take this public footpath. I was surprised when I passed by that lock up there, that was numbered 32. I've already been through 10 today, and then here it looks like this could have once been a lock, a disused one perhaps. Wow, this walk really did become rural. And it's at lock 33 and bridge 44 that I have my first crossing of the canal today. I was actually wondering if I was going to get any of these, and because I know from later on from previous experiences that I will be on the left side of the canal, that means we will cross over again at some point. So I was wondering if I was just coming up to an aqueduct, and this sign confirms it, Yarningdale Aqueduct. And there's actually 3 along this section, so we'll see the other ones later. Wootton Wowen, what a fantastic name, and Edstone. Okay, well it hasn't taken too long. Reached bridge 46, where we are now crossing back over to the other side, and I'm now wondering if we do stay on this side for the rest of the day. And it's on this side of the canal, along this stretch of the towpath up to the next aqueduct, where there is an array of geocaches. So I'm going to get quite distracted hunting for them, including the first one here, which is at the base of this tree. I won't feature all of them. There we go, it's my first one. Oh, never mind. We do have another crossing of the canal, which means I'll have another one later now. Oh, this is a lovely surprise. There's a bunch of cows beside the canal here. And they're out, they're all walking away from me. You stayed though. Thanks for staying there so I can get a shot of you. I've been struggling with a few of the geocaches, I will admit. This one's clue was stickoflage, so I'm like, okay, it's going to be camouflaged amongst the sticks or something. And it took me a minute to realise, no, it's actually in one of the sticks. Just come across the perfect little table where I sat down and had my lunch. But now I'm ready to set off again along the canal. Oh, and it's right here by the picnic table where I'm now on the Monarch's Way. I've heard of that long distance footpath. I forget where it runs to and from though. I do remember these type of bridges from when I walked a small section of the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal before. I said Stratford-upon-Avon, I said I would just call it Stratford Canal. Oh well. I'm questioning the use of some of these though, because this leads to nothing. So this hasn't really seen a purpose in many years, I would suspect. I will say that I have absolutely adored some of the sunny countryside that I have seen along my way today. It's been beautiful. You can hire a canal boat here for the day, right beside what must be Wootton Wowen's Aqueduct, our second one. There is actually a station called Wootton Wowen, but that will have to be for another day. And it's looking like this is now going to be a very nice tree-covered peaceful walk to the third and final aqueduct on this section of the canal. Wow. And then the trees open up to a field full of sheep, a marina for the boats, and just another long stretch of canal in the sun. I've been loving this walk. You know, I was happy enough just plodding on along this walk that I completely forgot that at some point I was going to have to cross the canal one last time. Okay, the aqueduct shouldn't be too much further. Now you might be wondering why I didn't focus too much on the other two aqueducts along here. Well, it's because the third and final one here at Edstone is the most impressive, and not just that, but the longest cast iron aqueduct in the country. This is just a seriously impressive case of engineering at the time, and these three aqueducts are quite unusual because you can get so close to the water. To have the towpath running right alongside the base of the canal is not something you usually find elsewhere, and it's a bit of an uncanny experience actually. The fact I can just lean over and touch the water if I so desired. I'm not going to do that. Canal water is notoriously rather grim. But it was here where I joined the Stratford Canal before, as just up there is Bearley Station. Is this actually the line from Wootton Wowen to Wilmcote? This might not actually be the Bearley line. Actually, it would be, because it's not single track, is it? So we'll definitely return to this line one day and tick off all of its stations. There's a great red transport plaque at the other end of the aqueduct as well, which gives you the history. Opened in 1816 for the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal. At 145 metres, this cast iron aqueduct is the longest canal aqueduct in England. Love that. Oh, I don't recall this last time. There's a sign for Kings Norton, 20 miles away over the aqueduct in that direction. You know what, I don't even think I knew Kings Norton was a place at that time. So I knew about this aqueduct and wanted to visit it on my way to Stratford-upon-Avon. I love that I have it right now to myself. There's no canal boats going over, nobody walking over. And I remember the walk from here to Wilmcote Station, because I did it in February on the extra day in the leap year. It was really muddy because there was no proper towpath. It was just like a muddy, grassy bank. And we have had rain the last few days, so I'm hoping it's not going to be a similar experience, because as nice as this was, and this is a really incredible spot, I love it so much, the canal walk was slightly let down, which was a bit of a shame. So 6 years later, I'm hoping to sort of rectify that. I had to wait for a train to pass underneath I didn't get to see one last time. That's something I needed to rectify. Aha, so it is still grassy in patches, but it is completely fine. It is not muddy at all. We are golden. I mean, look, you can definitely see if there was some water added to the mix here, this could be very muddy, but luckily not today. I didn't realise last time that you can see the railway from the canal. I guess I was too busy looking down trying to avoid mud. And here we are. I've made it to Wilmcote Station, which I remember quite well. I feel like it has quite a distinct colour scheme. I don't remember the heritage sign though. That might be a recent addition. I feel like I would have taken a photo of it if it was here last time, but instead, the one I wanted to take a photo of was the one that mentions something in the area, which is our first little indication of William Shakespeare. And here it is. I didn't get to see this last time because I didn't know it was here until I spotted it on the station signs, and also I didn't quite have enough time because I was quite slowed down by the mud, so I was slightly rushing for my train. But this fantastic old Tudor building here belongs to Mary Arden's farm. Mary Arden herself was the mother to William Shakespeare, and this would have been her childhood home. So similarly to Claverden and Bearley stations, Wilmcote did open with just a single platform. It was a single track station. But unlike them two, it retains its double platforms that it gained later. You know what, that train is quite possibly one which used to run on the London Overground Goblin line, or what's now known as the Suffragette line. And now I'm on to the final couple of miles or so of the canal for me today, which once again is a new section for me. Okay, so I haven't featured too much on this section. There hasn't been too much to take note of, but I'm coming off of the canal soon. I think just up there by the bridge is where I'm coming off. So this might be our last lock of the day, lock 50. We started with 22, did we? So quite a lot. And then we started with, I think, bridge 37, and we're ending with bridge 62. So less bridges than locks today, but they're not far off from each other. Oh, actually, we got one more bridge, 63. This is where I'm coming off. And you might be wondering to yourself, this doesn't look like Stratford-upon-Avon. Well, there's a good reason for that. And that's because there's another couple of miles or so along the canal to reach Stratford, which would make this quite a long walk, especially as it will just be too long to give a proper explore to the town. So I thought I would instead do a dedicated walk in Stratford one day, where I get to begin with a couple of miles of canal walking. I will still go into the town at Stratford, but I'm just going to get there via the train at Stratford-upon-Avon Parkway station. That's quite a mouthful, which is a relatively new station. It began construction in October 2012. It was anticipated to open in December 2013, but surprisingly, because this never happens in the history of construction ever, it opened early in May of that year, so it's only 13 years old. And I have actually used this station because after my explore of the town, which included the racecourse and a disused railway, which I think would be a very handy connection to have nowadays to Honeybourne on the Cotswold line, I realised the train in front of the one I wanted to catch was going to stop here, and I thought, might as well just tick off another station. So this would be a new station if I didn't do that, and if I hadn't already done Bearley and Wilmcote, I probably would have tried to squeeze them in today. Maybe I would have ended the walk at Wilmcote and I would have gone up to Bearley and then reversed back to Stratford or something. Who knows? Luckily I did come here 6 years ago. Also, the last Chiltern train to Leamington Spa, which will connect with a train to London, I think is only at 7:30, which feels relatively early. So I would have been rushing a little bit if I was still on the canal to Stratford. I do feel like Stratford has been nerfed slightly when it comes to its railways, unfortunately. Despite this being a relatively new station, it has gone through a company change. It originally would have been London Midland, hence the green seats, but then West Midlands Railway took over and has this orange and purple colour now. And another thing I've noticed is that there are numerous platform number signs. There's about 5 per platform. It's a bit over excessive. Also, what is it with me having stations to myself today? Oh, plus another reason why I'm here is because I needed a station sign photo for the collection. Although weirdly, I feel like I remember taking one. I don't know why I would have deleted it. Okay, I am pleasantly surprised. This was the first sign I saw on the approach to the station. I like when it has a little bit of extra information rather than just a station name. Home of the Royal Shakespeare Company and Shakespeare's birthplace. But then, all the others on the station looks like it's a heritage sign, but it's not really, because it is even labelled with West Midlands Railway, but they describe it as a heritage station. I've not seen a sign like that before. When I came here last, there were still London Midland signs up. There was one in gold, which I think was meant to represent that an Olympian lived nearby. I'm wondering if these post boxes here are gold for the same reason. So here it is. I've teased him a couple of times today. We've seen his mother's childhood home. But yes, William Shakespeare was born in this house in Stratford-upon-Avon. That's fantastic. That's still here after all this time. 500 years later almost. There's a visitor centre / tourist attraction here as well, if you would like to learn more. Closed right now though. It's rather quiet on a Saturday evening. It's also, almost ironically, but I guess it's still literature in some form, opposite a Harry Potter gift shop, of all things. Oh, 2022. So this wasn't here last time. There is a statue of William Shakespeare now. It's stuff like this that really makes me happy that I live in a place full of a lot of history. You just walk down a random English high street and you come across a fantastic old Tudor-style building where the world's most famous playwright was born in. That's just incredible. This just feels like one of those things that the American mind cannot comprehend. I love that it's protected and that it's still here. It's just, wow. And here we are. I couldn't not come and have a look at the very end of the Stratford-upon-Avon Canal, just before it's about to make its confluence with the River Avon. I don't remember there being a Ferris wheel last time I was here. People are loading up for a restaurant cruise on a canal boat. That sounds fun. They've replaced the sign. I remember seeing this and finding it quite fascinating, how many locks and how many miles it takes to get to major cities. But I'm fairly certain it used to say how long it would take as well. They've removed that. It does feel slightly like cheating that I've made it to the end without actually walking the last couple of miles. But then again, I have been here before anyways, and we will still do them 2 miles one day. Oh right, yeah, I guess I found out just how many locks there are on the Stratford Canal. 56. So I only had 6 more to go. Aha. And I found out how many bridges there are as well. 70. So I had about 7 more to go. I do remember it being very flooded on the banks of the River Avon here. That's how rainy and muddy it had become. So this feels like the perfect place to end today's video. Of course, that is just a teaser of Stratford-upon-Avon. There is a lot more to it, and we'll probably get to it in another 6 years or so. It's been nice for me to return here today. This was the last trip out of London for me before lockdown, so it's nice to come back when things are a little bit better. So thank you for watching. I'll see you soon for another video. This dog has absolutely decimated the peace and quiet I could have had here whilst waiting for the train to come through.